Mr. Wolf's Pancakes. One day, Mr. Wolf was feeling hungry. He fancied some pancakes. "Oh, yum, yum," he said, licking his lips at the thought of a big pile of fresh, delicious pancakes. Mr. Wolf had never made pancakes before, so he took his big recipe book down off the shelf and looked inside. But wolves can't read very well, and Mr. Wolf had terrible trouble making sense of it, so he went to get some help from his neighbours. He called on Chicken Licken, who lived nearby. "Please, can you help me read this?" he asked. "No," said Chicken Licken, and she slammed the door in Mr. Wolf's face. "Oh dear," sighed Mr. Wolf. He sat down and slowly read the book. He worked out what he needed, all by himself. Mr. Wolf looked in his cupboard for the ingredients, but he couldn't find anything he needed. "I'll go to the shop," he decided, and settled down to write a list. But wolves aren't very good at writing, so Mr. Wolf called on Wee Willie Winkie. "You're very clever," said the wolf. "Can you help me write my shopping list, please?" "No," said Wee Willie Winkie. "Go away." He slammed his door with a bang. "There's no need to be like that," said Mr. Wolf quietly, and he walked away. Mr. Wolf sat down and tried very hard with his writing until he'd made his shopping list all by himself. Now he needed to count his money to make sure he had enough. But wolves aren't very good at counting, so he went to the gingerbread man for some help. "Can you help me count my money, please?" he asked politely. "No, I'm too busy to bother with you," said the gingerbread man, slamming his door with a bang. So poor Mr. Wolf had to sit down and count his money. It took a long time, and he had to check it 3 times to make sure it was right. But he did it all by himself. Mr. Wolf needed a basket to carry his shopping, so he called on Little Red Riding Hood. "Please, can I borrow your basket?" he asked nicely. "I'm not lending you my basket," said Little Red Riding Hood. "Now clear off!" So Mr. Wolf set off to the shop without a basket and all by himself. "I'll manage," he said. Mr. Wolf went to the shop. He looked at the list, remembered what he needed, counted out his money and carried the eggs, milk and flour home, all by himself. Now it was time to make the pancakes, but wolves aren't very good at cooking either, so Mr. Wolf called on the 3 little pigs. "Please, can you help me cook my pancakes? I'll share them with you," he said kindly. "No chance," chorused the pigs before slamming their doors. Bang, bang, bang. Mr. Wolf felt sad because nobody wanted to help him. We would have helped him, wouldn't we? Of course we would. Mr. Wolf went home and started to make the pancakes all by himself. Soon there was a huge pile of delicious pancakes on the table, all ready for eating. Oh, they smelled good. Now, as Mr. Wolf had been making his pancakes, the lovely smell had drifted out of the kitchen and all his neighbours could smell them, and it made them feel hungry. They wanted some pancakes too, so they decided to try their luck. They knocked on Mr. Wolf's door. "Give us some pancakes," said the rotten lot. "Why should I give any to you?" said Mr. Wolf. "Not one of you helped me." "We'll help you eat them," they said. "Anyway, we're not going until you give us some." Mr. Wolf thought very hard for a moment. There was really only one decent thing to do. "Oh, very well," he said. "You'd better come in." Mr. Wolf opened the door and whoosh, his greedy neighbours rudely pushed him aside and dashed down the hall. Mr. Wolf shook his head and shrugged his shoulders and followed them into the kitchen, and when they were all in, Mr. Wolf gobbled them up, snippety, snappety. That was the end of his unhelpful neighbours. And then with his bulging tummy not quite full, Mr. Wolf sat down to eat his pile of pancakes. And he did it all by himself. The end.